So, dear viewers, welcome to a new episode of Marketing Behind the Scenes podcast. And today we prepared a great story for you. And for that, we have a great honor having our guest with us today, Maria Markosyan, Global Head of Employer Branding at Wargaming. Thank you, Maria, for joining us.
Hi, Una.
Hi.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So, thank you for your time today. And as we talked and prepared for this episode, we talked a lot about employer branding, and your function says a lot about it. So I think that you're the right person to give us an insights on employer branding, your point of views, what is employer branding, what we can expect from employer branding, and what maybe future brings for employer branding or those modern technologies. Just to give a hint to our viewers what we will tackle today about EB. Sure. So, if you agree, I will start with one simple question, and that basic question: what is employer branding? Can you just give us your insight how you will describe or define employer branding?
Yeah. Well, that's a very usual question that I get because honestly, today is the 2026, right?
Yeah. But at the beginning.
But many people, including marketing directors, including HR directors, they still do not understand or do not see what employer branding really brings and what is it about, okay? So since you asked from my perspective, then I will tell you that employer branding is a promise. Just like regular marketing, just like regular branding is a promise that you give, and you have to stand up for that promise. In other words, I always say that it's like dating.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah,
you can have a perfect profile, beautiful picture, polished everything, great communication. Then you come to your first date. / your first interaction with your employer, and then everything can go sideways. Yeah, you don't feel the vibe, the person is sad, or like just your experience starts getting really sad, and you don't like it, you're not comfortable, and so on and so forth. So it's not only about having a polished picture, great content, and great communication. It's about standing up for your words. If you made a promise, and if you said that I'm the company that cares for society, then you really should act upon it and stand behind your message. So overall, that's employer branding. It's a fusion of reputation and internal well-being of your employees, and how the company is positioned to the external world, and so on and so forth. And when I draw a line or like a parallel between classical product branding, or let's say product marketing and company marketing, then the main difference is that when we do product marketing, what do we want from the customer? We want them to feel the emotion and the urge to buy this product, to love this product so much that we want them to say, "I want to buy it," right? And in case of employer branding, we want them to say, "Oh my God, I love this company so much. I want in. I want to work for those guys.
And I want to advocate for them, actually, as the ultimate goal." And you mentioned one interesting thing, and I have additional question just for the flow. You mentioned there's a surface and what is behind that surface. How to be clever and wise, not to blow up expectations not to blow up expectations, to be very big, and you know what is behind. What is the secret to make a balance between those two?
Yeah, and that's the hardest story. That's the hardest challenge that we face every day, because the employer branding, it used to be to make a lot of fuss about the company, to tell your story in a sexy way so that everyone will want to apply. But the end question, do we want everyone?
Good point.
Right.
Great point.
Today, we must make sure that we are telling the authentic story, that we are really targeting the people that we need and that need us. So this chemistry must happen. And in order for that chemistry to happen, we cannot lie and we cannot exaggerate stuff. So just to give an example, if we are a tough company and we are super creative, we love freedom, and so on and so forth. That means that some people of certain profiles who like conservative companies, who like conservative cultures, they will simply not feel good in that kind of culture. But on the opposite, the crazy guys like the founder of a company I used to work for, he said at one conference, he answered the question, who do you want to join your company? And he said, I need the crazy guys. And I was sitting there, oh, I am that crazy guy. Oh, take me,
Yeah.
So this is the main point, that we create communication and we involve our real people. I think that's very powerful, because people help the people. And especially in the gaming industry, where people are driven by passion, where they care a lot. They care a lot about players. They care a lot about the end product. They are super creative. Especially in this kind of industry, it is important to showcase people and their real stories and what is behind them, what brought them into the industry, and it works as a magnet.
Super. And mentioning now gaming industry and game dev talent market, what are other specifics than crazy and creative and caring? Do you think that others are specifics of the gaming industry regarding employer branding comparing to other industries? Maybe to emphasize some others.
Yeah, totally. I would say it's more difficult, and it's not because I just want to show off and say, oh, how great gaming is. No, it's. I've worked with different industries, and on the consulting side and inside the house, and I can totally say that in gaming we've got a huge variety of different disciplines. So we cannot just say, okay, for example, when you're doing a campaign for a bank, you need a certain profile, you need certain personas that will satisfy or that will fit the morale and of the bank. Yeah. But here in gaming, you need artists of different kinds. You need engineers, but not like classical engineers. You need QA engineers, you need video production people, you need writers, you need community managers, and so on and so forth. And all of these disciplines are so different from one another. So if you compare a persona of an artist and a persona of a QA engineer,
totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Two different worlds.
Totally.
And that's the biggest obstacle. And I think that's the biggest difference. And the thing I love about it as well, because it's challenging, but it's fun. Because these people, at least from my experience, the people who work in the gaming industry, they are driven by passion. They are driven by meaning. And for them, and they don't even see the line in between. I'm working and I'm doing it for myself.
To express myself.
Exactly, because I love it so much, and that's the beauty of it. And there is a risk inside. The beauty of it is that the people love what they do so much that they really forget what day is today and where they are and so on. But on the other hand, from the HR perspective, they can easily lose that ground. Okay, they can feel tired very quickly. So you need to keep that balance and make sure that these people are happy and their passion doesn't work them off, that doesn't work them out,
overwhelm them actually at the end.
Yeah.
So can employer branding, when you're mentioning passion, can employer branding with some tactics and activities fire up passion inside employees? Maybe they are not aware of that passion they are having inside themselves.
Well, I think, again, in our industry, they're very aware.
Okay.
So passion is everything, actually. And again, why? Is because we are, the particularity of it is that the employer branding at some point it has to meet the consumer branding, because very often our candidates are our players,
actually,
and our fans. So we need to be very careful. We need to work in line with the brands of our products. And it kind of becomes a fusion, and you don't see the difference anymore. Because when the fans and the players become the employees, they can be loud, very loud.
Very loud, you're totally right.
So it can really affect the reputation of the company. The platforms are very different. So if you talk about the FMCG company or a bank or a telecom company, it's pretty easy. So you have a set of platforms where you can communicate to people and they will hear you. With gaming, it's a bit different, because where they don't sit on LinkedIn as much. They don't sit on TikTok or Meta. They sit on Discord, because they see the meaning in everything. So that's the great difference between other industries and gaming, because these people are driven by passion and driven by meaning that they want to bring into this world. It changes the whole scene. Great.
And actually, all you said now tackles a little bit something that we can put under diversity. Diverse audience, like players and employees, and diversity between disciplines within a company. But when we add to that diversity also different regions and different culture, how that influence or complicate employer branding as it is?
Well, nowadays you cannot play the card, one card that fits all. That's for sure. And definitely we have to do regional adaptations, because it's impossible to talk one language with all the different countries. And you take Europe, if you look at the talent market and talent expectations in Europe, they can be ambitious, but they are more long-term oriented. Stability is more important for them. Overall, I'm saying, yes, stability is more important for them. Things like CSR is important for them. Less important than, for example, the brand or the image of the company or the influence of leaders. And when I look at APAC or Asian countries, there it's completely opposite. For them, the brand image of the company is almost number one. They care, they research, they do big work before they go for the first interview or even before applying. They look for data, they look for reviews, they compare, if they look at the rankings, if this company has more weight than the other company. And for them, the image of executives is very important because, for example, in Japan, I did work and live in Japan, and in that country, the hierarchy is very important. So the leader, what the leader says, is basically transferred to all of the departments and is taken as a, one truth. So there, the leaders have to be present. They have to be there talking to their people, showing what they think, etc. Whereas in Europe, of course, it's important. But in Europe, it's more a flat hierarchy. So in Europe, it's more expertise-based. It's less about top management or leader talking, whereas it's important and it influences people for sure. But in Europe, it's the expertise is more important. So people get attracted to the same kind of profile or to the experts that they want to work for in the future. They listen to them, they listen to their podcasts, they see what they have to say, and then they kind of trying to grow themselves to become that person so that they can build a similar career story.
Sounds very complex. And if I ask you something internally now, you mentioned leaders, you mentioned experts now, how to make internal stakeholders to buy in for employer branding and to see employer branding? Do you think that they are still in majority see employer branding as a tool of attraction and retention? Or nowadays, or in previous 2 to 5 years, leaders see the power of employer branding? What do you think about that relationship between the power of employer branding and stakeholders that will say, okay, let's do that, let's implement, let's live that?
The buy-in of stakeholders depends a lot on the strategy. So it always comes from top down. So the biggest success that the companies experience is when their CEO and the leaders of the company believe that employer branding is important and they actually include it into every aspect of their business. Meaning, and this is actually where the future leads us. So if we choose to believe reports, and recently there is one report that came out from Universum, Talent Market 2026.
Okay.
And they're showing there that, what is the future of employer branding? It's going to be integrated into the holistic system of a company. Because, again, the future of employer branding is not external, it's internal. The internal brand becomes more important. Why? Because the people are the biggest force. Yes, they need to be proud, they need to be loyal. They are our biggest investment and also the most powerful influencers when they become advocates. Yeah. So the future of employer branding lies there. It's definitely AI is there because as a big brother, big helper, and employer branding is going to be, from my perspective, again, it's going to be divided into two areas. Again, there will be one cohort that still believes in the power of imagery, in the power of polished communication, and so on and so forth, and only that. And there will be another cohort that actually does performance-based employer branding, which means we do not only look at the amount of likes and the amount of shares and reshares, we look at the engagement overall. What is the engagement score inside the company? How many people are involved in the activities that the employer branding teams are doing? And of course, the outside world is also important, but it's going to become one holistic system. And the planning, the talent outlook. You know, it will include employer branding, the way we work with learning and development. We must hear the audience. And basically, you know, if we just go and produce 1,000 copies of beautiful content that audience doesn't need, what are we going to end up with? So we must hear the audience, and we must adjust depending on what the audience needs. So, and that's why I believe in a couple of years it will become very integrated into different departments and into different categories of business.
So, for sure, becoming a very complex system of employer branding in following years. Can AI help in that to make your business easier? Maybe.
You know that
because we have two traits, negative and positive, for sure. Yeah. And can AI influence negatively on employer branding for all companies, make it a bit uniformed?
You know, I like to think positively, and I just think about a couple of campaigns that crossed my mind, and one example is Nutella, and
Thank you for mentioning.
I absolutely love that campaign. They produced 1 million of jars thanks to AI. And it was reshared in Italy. I think every Italian loved it. In the end, what do we have? Okay, it's not employer branding, but it's how AI helped them to stand out. In the end of the day, the result, all the jars of Nutella were sold. Yeah. Not even one was left. And there was so much noise about it. People loved it. People appreciated it, etc. Yeah. So the other smart ways, I think, smart example, how H&M did it. They hired 30 models and they created a clone of each model, the digital clone. But each model was telling them, telling AI how, what her traits are, what she likes, what she doesn't like, and so on. And then I remember seeing this post where it said, I don't have a jet lag. So the digital clone of that girl said that, I'm the one who doesn't have jet lag. And kind of, highlighting those things in a smart manner, still having the authenticity and humanity, but showcasing the advantages that AI can bring to the table. I think it's super smart, and when the companies approach it in this kind of way, it works. In the same way, if we go back to employer branding, look, AI can save so many hours of forecasting. It can analyze huge chunks of information, right? So it makes us smarter. It makes our lives easier in terms of who we want to target and how. And it can analyze huge amount of competitors' posts, for example, right? And like, how much time would have I spent doing it myself? Yeah, so AI helps.
Some repetitive database, the activity to be to use more time for creativity, not for data analyzing. That's the great thing of AI. Exactly. And actually, you tackle one thing, and I want to ask you, what is the essence that makes difference between successful employer branding and less successful employer branding? You mentioned parts of it, and actually you answered, but give the viewers sum up of that difference, especially in today's market or in following 2 years, for example.
Well, I would say a successful employer brand listens. First of all, it's definitely data-based. If you made a strategic decision to go one way, and then you hear your audience not liking this way, a successful employer brand will adjust. Okay, so just to give you an example, we had one really cool project that was born out of the comments of our audience. So basically, there were a couple of artists who were asking us for some support, that they would love to see real life reviews from real expert. And that was in reply to one of the stories that we posted of one of the expert artists in the company. And that led to the creation of an amazing project that we run on Discord, art portfolio reviews. People appreciate it big time. Okay, that's one of the examples. So that's kind of to support what I said about listening. Forecasting as well. So it's not only, again, it's not only about creation of beautiful imagery and polished communications and polished career web pages. It's not important anymore in today's world, because you can create an image like this. It does.
It's not personal. It's not personal anymore. We are the audience and the viewer is not sure that that is genuine.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And the aim is to keep that, or what make the essence of the company.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
And how to avoid, everyone is talking about employer branding, the culture and the brand voice and what we want. What role in authenticity of one employer brand have employees, and how employer branding can lead them to understand their role as a voice of the company, or as a passion and power to attract the good voice and word of mouth about the company?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that, again, successful employer brands will do that. They will involve their internal employees and make them the so-called ambassadors. The power lies in there. How to make them understand their value? We gotta talk to them honestly. We gotta explain, because especially in the gaming industry, there's so much talent. There's so much hidden talent. And what I mean by hidden talent is that people, they don't realize how amazing they are. Really? They do not realize. And they sit there creating little things, thinking that their hobby. I mean, I met one very interesting guy who was making little prototypes of tanks and ships, really? Little prototypes of the vehicles from our games. And he
like
was
a hobby?
Like a hobby. He was just doing it in his free time. And it's like this small model of huge vehicles. And it was just a masterpiece. And he was so shy to share his story, because he thought that it was just his hobby. So this is an example, but I'm just saying that there is a lot of hidden talent, and there is actually, we do not know. It's impossible to know all of your people and who owns.
That I wanted to ask you actually, how you became aware of what you have, what wealth you have within a company. How you became aware that you can awake within a people, that they are worthy. How you became aware that you have all that stories within the company. It's an investigation work. You talk to with people. You listen.
Yeah, exactly. Listening, talking, and collaboration. I think collaboration is key. Collaboration between departments is huge. Being friends with your learning and development department, and actually finding the common grounds and appreciating the people wealth, appreciating the people and what they've got inside themselves. Yeah. So this is key. Again, listening and appreciating and explaining, because not always, again, the audiences are so different. They all speak different language. And you need to find, there's no common approach. You need to find a way to approach an artist. You need to find a way to approach an engineer. And those two ways are drastically different. When we speak about employer branding campaigns, for example, I have one of my favorites.
Please
and
share.
It's a very old one. It's a very old one. It's funny and it's super powerful. It's actually it was in Portugal.
Okay.
The campaign is made by Mercedes-AMG, and I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's like interviewing at our office, something like this. And the office is inside the car. So what they had drivers driving Mercedes-AMG models at a crazy speed, and they actually put the candidate. The candidate had no idea. So they put the candidate in that car, and they connected to the CEO via Zoom. And CEO in the car while the driver was like extreme driving. So these guys, they had helmets on, and I admire this campaign so much. It's because it shows you how people are different when they are put in different circumstances, in stressful circumstances. So it's not anymore, you cannot position yourself as very crisp and polish your language. No, because you're so stressed. You're in that situation when CEO is asking you technical questions and you're like, oh my God, I cannot think about anything.
I'm in a speed drive. I'm on a roller coaster.
Exactly.
I can't.
Oh my God, I can't believe what I'm doing here. And but in the end of the drive, they were all laughing. They had fun. They experienced the culture,
the brand and the culture,
exactly,
in full.
And in the end, they made a statement that, this test did not bring us lots of conclusions, so we have to run a second trial. Okay, but you saw, and they were able to see how these people behaved in this informal, crazy circumstances. They were themselves. They were very authentic, so they could see whether the profile of that person is really Mercedes or someone else.
It's someone else.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned one thing that I find also important, like how flexible employer branding has to be, and how has to be on watch, because you work with diverse audience from your side. If something shows that it's not working, we have to adjust. Market is changing. Is that tough? Does it ask for a lot of resources and time?
It's always tough. You've got to be agile, especially when you work in gaming industry. This industry is very unpredictable. The market changes very fast. There are moments when there are crunch moments. There are moments before the release of new games, moments when people are super excited, and then after the release they are like not knowing what's next. And then, so it's
like nothing happened actually.
Exactly.
But it was a revolution. But what is next?
Yeah, so it's a roller coaster, and you just have to be agile. 100%. A new AI tool is coming out, you have to test it. You have to try seeing what works, what doesn't work. And that's another advantage of using AI. Again, the positive side of using AI, because you can test your stuff on like stress.
Stress dummy, is it called it, like in auto industry, stress dummy?
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. So like you can test it all without harming your reputation in advance, thanks to AI. So that's a huge development that we are seeing. So again, maybe coming back to your question about authenticity, there is a risk like that, and we often get comments on our social media guys, we appreciate so much that you're not using AI that much into your face. But at the same time, you have to use it. So there is a risk of losing authenticity if you use it wrong. But if you use it in a smart way, then you win, basically. That's it.
And that's the ultimate goal. Yeah. So you mentioned authenticity, flexibility, agile. What are the traits of the person that want to get into employer branding? What do you think? So what brought you in employer branding, and what is that drives within employer branding for you? And maybe some can recognize itself, and maybe we make a new passion for someone.
Yeah, that's a lovely question. I think the most powerful thing for me is that in comparison to product, I mean, I used to work in product marketing. And it was fun, amazing, and again, we were talking about campaigns. If you remember Isaiah Mustafa, the Old Spice, those campaigns.
Oh yeah.
I had an internship back in the days in Procter & Gamble. It was my biggest dream, and it was a great journey. So, anyways, but when you work on product marketing, the end goal is what? Is to make your audience fall in love with that product and have the urge to buy the product, right? To be in ideal world, then to be loyal to the product, etc., etc. But the end goal is the sale, right?
And that's it.
And
actually,
and
at the end of the day, just sales number. Yeah.
Exactly, sales numbers. But in the case of employer branding and how I came into it, you're really involved somehow into people's lives, because the decision-making timeline is much longer and much more important versus buying a product. Because here, when you're making a decision to change your employer, to accept a new job offer, you're making a decision not only for yourself, but maybe for your whole family, for your kids.
Do you feel responsible sometimes? Wow, I'm influencing actually the whole family. Maybe if it is a job that when candidate has to move.
Yeah, but it's more. I feel that I'm making impact, and that makes me happy, because we had an argument, not an argument, but like, let's say we were
discussion or something.
We were with my colleague, who is the head of marketing. We were discussing about these differences and why certain things that are very regular and powerful in classical marketing, consumer marketing, why they don't work in employer branding. And this is exactly because in product marketing, you make an impulsive decision. If you like something, you feel the emotion, you probably will make an impulsive decision. In employer branding, you cannot afford making an impulsive decision.
No time for 3 seconds decision.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why the communication and all of the content, everything has to be different, because the person is just, sometimes people think about their whole lives to make this decision. Okay. So, but this is the beauty of it. This is the power and the beauty of it, because I want to believe that I'm making people's lives better by actually kind of slowly pushing them towards their dream job, dream opportunity, so
dream life,
so that they can find themselves and finally become that hero that they wanted to become. So that's my passion, and when actually my journey started in Germany, when I first found out what employer branding was.
In Germany,
I had I had an internship. I was doing my MBA, and I had an internship at a lovely company that was producing elevators.
Okay,
and I had no idea what employer branding was, and it was like a dark world for me. And they had to explain lots of things.
Okay.
But one thing that I clearly got back in the days that there is influence inside of that. Not only sale, but you can actually influence the happiness of people. And this is amazing.
You're totally right.
This is amazing.
At the end of the day, if I'm satisfied with my choices, and maybe we made an influence on those choices, I'm happy. Actually, and what I like, you're mentioning, actually and you mentioned also that the players, both players and the employees, are the audience, and how external users of the products or services are also has to be considered within employer branding. Did I get you right? That is one unified system, because I think that usually when we talk about employer branding, they say I have employer branding strategy. That's it. I don't know what that means actually. And then I'm taking care of my employees. I'm taking care of my future talents, my talent markets. But I truly like that you are mentioning all dimensions, the whole system of the company, talents, internal, but it also the users of products and services. Can you just get us once more within that unity? For guys to be aware of it. I think that is very important.
Look, it's I think it's actually a challenge, and it for many multi-product companies, because it depends. Let's not talk about gaming now, but let's take an example of any company, FMCG, the easiest one. Okay. They have a numerous amount of products, and the target audiences are very different, from tea to deodorant. Yeah, so like very different target audiences. But at the same time, when you market the company in the right way, I was talking about P&G before. Their mom campaign, I don't remember the right name. If you remember that campaign when they were talking about athletes and how the athletes made their journey thanks to their moms.
Bring it up or first steps. I can't remember, but I remember bringing up the first steps with mom.
Thank you, mom. I think it was called Thank You, Mom. So basically here you unite in that, when you do that kind of campaign, you unite all of your efforts, you unite all of your target audiences into one thing that connects everyone. And here as well, when you have different games, different products with different audiences and fans of those products, the biggest challenge is to actually bring them all together and explain that this is all done by one company. Because fans are very loyal to their brands. But they, as much as they're loyal to their brands, when they come to work for a company, they don't work for that particular brand. They work for the whole company, and the rules apply to, the rules of the company apply to those guys
or whatever.
Exactly. So that's why it's so important to actually listen to the voices, listen to the opinions of different products that are inside your ecosystem to make the right decisions. Because if it suits one product and doesn't suit another one, then you're close to failure.
If there is not a match from both sides.
Exactly.
Do you ever switch them? Because you are watching out both externally and internally. Do you ever switch?
Yeah, AI helps. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, and you mentioned that from time to time you are discussing and talking with, let's call, pure marketing. Do you think that employer, the traditional marketing or product marketing, value employer branding as much as employer branding is valuing marketing?
Again, it depends which company and how they approach things. Because again, from my previous experience, when I worked with different companies, there were companies where employer branding belonged to marketing function, and they worked hand in hand together. And there are companies where marketing function does not understand what employer branding does, which is very weird for me, because the instruments are all the same.
All the same, just the audience, the product is different.
It's just what are you marketing and what is your end goal?
Okay.
And the end goal is always a sale, but from a different perspective.
Yeah, great. And we tackled that, but how do you see your thoughts? How do you see how you will evolve as a creative person in employer branding within 3 years? What is your focus now? Don't say just like AI or something, but how you see that you have to evolve as a leader for your team, for your company, for your employees, for them to maintain that happiness or to reach that happiness that employer branding is craving for?
Look, for me, I strongly believe that the higher purpose of marketing in itself is to create the emotional touch. And if you manage to find that emotional bridge, then you succeeded.
So you're building bridges from now.
Exactly. I like building bridges.
Yeah,
And for me, that's what brings me the most satisfaction, when I manage to build a bridge between myself as a leader and my employee subordinates, between myself as a partner, and my colleagues, between myself as a mother and my daughters. I think building those emotional bridges are very important, because people open up to you. And in the end of the day, look, again, like in that song, people help the people. And even if you get the person who is so busy and he forgot what his name is, and he doesn't have any hobbies, he doesn't have free time. When you actually sit down and talk to that person, you will find out that this person has interests, there are things that make him truly happy, and so on and so forth. I believe in that. I believe in the power of emotional bridges. And
I like that you are using the term bridges, like solid constructions that last.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last for a long time.
They are taking the flow forward, and there's for the flow, and are solid for time.
Yeah.
But how you keep yourself creative? Because you mentioned so much things about employer branding, so much passion in it, so much in personal involvement, because employer branding is about the people, and if you want to know people, you have to involve yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe that sometimes can be draining, but how you stay creative within employer branding, how to boost the creativity for other people to feel better?
I don't know. I think it has to be inside you. And it becomes stronger again when you interact with people. As the example I made before, when I see the people who are doing amazing things, I get excited, and I want to be more creative. And my kids make me creative.
Yes.
Because both of them are creative. And it's like you read, you watch the stuff, and you think, wow, it's amazing. I don't know. I when I watched the new video, the new Gucci campaign, and I shared it with all of my team. I shared it with all of my friends. It was a very interesting one, powerful.
Guccivica Balenka.
Sorry?
Guccivica Balenka with that tennis number one.
No. It was, I think, with Demi Moore, that video. And it was very strange and very bright. And you had to turn on your creativity brain to understand the essence behind it. This is what I love.
That's her name of that film, The Essence. Demi Moore, the last film she made, it was The Essence.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it yet. But movies, exactly. So I love complicated movies where you have to think, where you have to see through and understand what lies behind, and that keeps your creativity on top of the game.
So listening to you, and actually, usually when it comes to business, people say, I have strategy for this, I have strategy, I'm making employer brand strategy. But actually, since it's based people to people, people for people, it's everywhere around you. Like you mentioning now within the other campaigns, within yourself, etc. Could you agree on that? That actually the inspiration for employer branding is every day, everywhere, just to recognize and to pay attention on it.
Absolutely. You have to be able to see, not only listen, but also to see. And I always tell my daughters and my girls at work, you have to see through. Sometimes out of a bad experience, you can get benefits. You can grow. Out of a bad campaign, you can get lots of publicity, and so on and so forth. So there is always something good, even inside the bad as well, and the opposite. So it's around us. I had a conversation with one woman maybe a year ago. She was the biggest, dislover. She hated brands.
Okay.
So she said, I refuse to accept that brands exist.
Okay. Very extreme.
Very extreme, and it was so interesting for me.
But clear emotion. To say very clear emotion.
Yes, it was so interesting to me, because then I started asking her, okay, but let's look at you today. What are you wearing? You're wearing Converse. Why are you wearing Converse? Oh, I like them so much. I like the quality, but it's a brand. No, but I'm against brands. So we had a very long conversation. But people just sometimes don't realize the power of brands, and that it's just everywhere. And that unconsciously you make a certain decision when you even buy toilet paper. Okay,
that basic necessity, like
exactly.
Every day we are not thinking about that product. Just buy. We are just buying, but
there is always something
that squish how behind. Soft is.
yeah, exactly.
To think about it.
So emotions are everywhere, and again, marketing is all about emotions. And lately, there are so many talks about Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and those guys are going to change the way we and they are already changing the way we see things. And they're talking about humanity. They're talking more about emotions, values, and stuff like that. So it's already very difficult to attract those guys by offering them high salary and career growth.
And gym with, premises.
Exactly. And biscuits at work. No, they need more. They need value. They need to feel freedom. They need emotions. They need to see if they're doing something, then the result that comes back brings them the satisfaction that they were expecting. So the world is changing, and I see that many companies actually are using this emotional hook in their communication. It was a couple of years ago, if you remember that campaign Volvo made. It was Volvo made by people. And they started from showcasing the guy who was still in bed. They showed how he got to work. He had his bicycle. Now he's cycling to work. Then, so they're showcasing the real experience, the real life of these people, and actually showing, look, whatever you do, whatever your company produces, it's made by people, and these people have their lives. So if you are able to make their lives better somehow, you are already in the winning league.
Yeah. And listening to you, I want to ask you, do you find that you're an educator as a employer branding lead to both the company, within a company? Do you have to educate them about the emotions and explain them? Mentioning Gen Z, what is the role of employer branding to explain within a company how the market is evolving and the audience on the market?
Well, we learn from each other on a daily basis, because I think, many companies, different departments, they work on their own things. Then when they communicate with each other, they're like, oh my God, wow, I didn't know, I had no idea that this works. And again, this collaboration, open talk, transparency is super important. This is the way forward.
The same values presented by employer branding or company brand as it is. To practice what you preach.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be honest. You have to stand up behind your words. And again, if we're talking about the trends for the future, look, you cannot control your content anymore. You cannot control what is going out there. It's going to be a complete transparency, because anyone.
Are you afraid? Should we be afraid of that? How to put transparency in control?
I mean, just
to try.
Just by truth.
Yeah.
You have to be authentic. You have to be loyal to yourself. If you lie somewhere, especially nowadays, in the future, it will become obvious, and then you cannot clean up the mess.
So, employer branding is a new strength within a company. Do you think that will be more important than that was in a previous period?
I do believe so. At least, again,
But does it have to be transform a little bit?
Definitely. It has to transform, and the strategies have to transform. They have to be evolving. So it can't continue like it used to be before, and in different clusters and different departments. No, it has to be inside. It has to evolve with other departments, and just make one transformation, one new ecosystem where everyone understands the dependencies, and the impact that employer branding is making on the business, on different sides, on talent attraction, on internal engagement, and so on and so forth. But it's not only about employer branding, and I think many different functions in the companies, they will have to transform. The way they think, the way they used to work, public relations as well. Look, again, if the world is becoming super transparent,
there's a question: what is the main role of public relations?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How?
And interesting that you're mentioning, because usually a company says, okay, I have employer branding strategy and that's it for some period of time, but employer branding and people relation is something that has to be fluid, has to be flexible, has to be on alert in a short period of time. I think that is also very important. So, is there one main message that what you want to share with us?
I think just be you. Be authentic, be true to yourself. no matter what you do. It doesn't matter whether you're a marketing director or product director or whatnot. In today's world, we have to find ourselves, we have to find our own strengths and build on it. We cannot look like someone else. We cannot think or talk like someone else. The strength lies within us, and that's my main message.
Dear Maria, thank you so much for your time and for wonderful insight employer branding. So guys, I hope you enjoyed, and we come up with some other stories next time.